If you're still buying old houses on large plots in 2026, you're just being foolishly tricked by real estate agents. There's a common mistake, or rather an unwritten rule among Chinese people buying property in Australia: always go for old houses on big land, and if you buy one, you've made a profit. For example, if someone buys a large lot house in Camberwell or Bowen in Melbourne, or in the upper North Shore of Sydney, and posts it in their WeChat moments, they're seen as a winner in life. Today, I'm going to use 2 real property transactions from a friend of mine to do a full calculation. After you see this, it will definitely change your perspective and could even help you make money. Because of family reasons, he has left Australia for good and won't be coming back. So he sold off both of his investment properties. Let's take a look at the buying and selling experience of this old immigrant who has lived in Melbourne for 20 years. I hope it can give you some inspiration. As for his own residence in Bowen, I won't talk about that for now. Let me start with his first investment property in Camberwell. A lot of people calculate property returns by only looking at one number: how much they sold it for minus how much they bought it for. He bought this property for $1.85 million and sold it for $2.33 million. The gross margin, or what you might think is the profit, is $480,000. It sounds impressive when you talk about it, right? Living in Bowen yourself and having an investment property in Camberwell. But you need to realize that this $480,000 isn't the actual amount he made, because there are 3 expenses you're missing. First, the upfront costs. For a property worth $1.85 million, you have to pay nearly 100,000 Australian dollars in fees, right? The second is the holding costs, including loan interest, council rates, taxes, and insurance. Over 3 years, these added up to more than 160,000 Australian dollars because the land tax is higher than you can imagine. The third is the transaction costs. In Australia, the agent's commission for selling a house is about 2%, plus legal fees and advertising costs. When you add up these 3 expenses, how much of that $480,000 in nominal profit is left? Only 30% is left. Then, over the same 3 years, the returns from the 2 properties differed by a factor of 2. The first property, bought in 2018 for $1.85 million and sold in 2021 for $2.33 million, had a $370,000 down payment. Costs included $100,000 stamp duty, $150,000 interest, $18,000 fees, and $43,000 for commission and legal. Excluding negligible rent, the net gain was $160,000, a 14.5% annual return. Why do I say only? Because it's actually very low. Don't think that's a high return. In property investment, if your annualized return is lower than this, you might as well just put your money in the bank. Now, the second property is in the new area of Cranbourne East. Honestly, in my opinion, he didn't listen to my advice at the time, and this purchase wasn't a good one. The area isn't that great, and the house he bought is in a relatively remote part of the new development zone. But even so, in this situation, a 600 square meter plot of land was bought for $500,000 in 2022 and sold for $700,000 in 2025. The down payment was $100,000 and the stamp duty was only $25,000. So what's the problem? In 2022, when buying his second property, rates hiked. Over these 3 years, mortgage rates averaged 5.5%, 2 points above his Camberwell property then. Despite this, his return still doubled. Specifically, over 3 years, interest was $66,000, MISC fees $15,000, and legal fees $19,000. Net profit was $75,000 Australian dollars, averaging 25%.